In this chapter, we're going to be looking at one of the most useful and important parts of a scripting language such as PHP, and that is database connectivity. We're going to be looking at the ways in which we can connect to our database and query it to bring back data that we can use within our scripts. And then we're going to be looking at ways to handle that data once it gets back to our PHP script. In this chapter, and in most of this title, we're going to be looking at a database called MySQL. Now, there are a lot of different relational database management systems available that we could use. We're using MySQL as an example because PHP has native support for MySQL. It also has native support for many other databases. MySQL is a good example because it's available under an open source agreement, or at a relatively low cost for a commercial license, and is often seen as a natural partner to PHP. We're also going to look at a couple of examples of connecting and querying other databases such as Microsoft SQL Server and PostgreSQL. You should also be aware that there are many other relational database management systems that PHP uses and that you can use with your PHP scripts. Let's take a look at the sample database that I've created for use within this chapter. We're going to have a look on the MySQL command line, and we're going to have a look at the vinyl dealers database. Now, this database that I've made is a very simple little database that simply stores a number of fictitious sellers of dance music, shops within a fictitious town somewhere in Australia. So there's various tables within the vinyl dealers database that we're going to have a look at. There's three tables. There's the shops table, which just lists all the shops and the details of the shops, and then there's the genres table, which lists all the different kind of music genres, so that we can later on choose to list by all the shops that specialize in a certain genre of music. And then there's a shop genres table in the middle. And what that does is that's a many-to-many, that performs a kind of many-to-many relationship between the two other tables. Well, let's take a look quickly at the different tables that I've made here so that you'll be familiar with them as we move through the rest of the examples in this chapter. We take a look at the shops table. There we can see primary index and the name of the shop and various other details down there. Take a look at the genres. As we can see, just an ID and a name. And if we take a look at the data in that, taking my syntax there, we can see that there they're listed all the different genres that we're going to be looking at of dance music. And then if we have a look at the shop genres table, we can see that there's just two keys, foreign keys, listed there. neither of which need to be unique, and this is used to connect the other two tables. You can find the SQL file which you can use to create the database on your own system if you're using MySQL on the CD in the examples folder. In our next movie, we're going to take a look at a way to connect to our database using PHP.